welcome back to my channel. My name is Katherine and this is Just Being Katherine, and this is a mini two-part series of a series, my renovation makeover. My Instagram, you will frequently see me using hashtag renovation. I came up with the term about a year ago, and it's basically me sharing our budget-friendly makeovers in our apartment through easy DIYs and rental-friendly upgrades. Rental, renovation, rentovation. So now when you see it on my Instagram feed or throughout my YouTube video, you will know what it is. If you missed any of my renovation makeovers, I put them down below in the description box, and I actually put them in a playlist organized just for you. Today we are going to be making bohemian room decor accessories. I'm so excited, and a lot of these items are trending right now, but I wanted to give it a hand at some simple DIYs that you all can replicate, and they can definitely be additives to existing furniture, moments, or bare spaces that you may have around your home. I also thought it would be a good idea to share the retail price of these decor items and compare them to the total cost of each DIY. I'm simply comparing the two to see, is it worth to just go out and buy these things because of the time and effort that it takes to DIY, or is it just easier to DIY these items and save a little bit more money? So whichever side of the spectrum you are on, I hope you meet me in the middle and you're encouraged to DIY some of these items with me today. So we are gonna jump into the very first DIY. This first DIY is very simple, but I think it's gonna add some flair and fun to your pre-existing furniture and open areas in your home, like a bookshelf, a counter, coffee tables, anything that's basically bare or in an open space. So we are gonna be DIYing a wooden bead French garland. Require 2, maybe 3 items. So you will need some wooden beads, yarn, and if you have beads that can just slide in through the yarn, you don't need this extra item, but the next one is a plastic needle. Just going to take some of this and know how long you want your garlands. You can always cut off, but you can't add on. 51 inches. But of course, this all depends on where you would display it and if you want it to be long or short. So you're gonna take your plastic needle and put a string of yarn through the hole and have some excess hanging. This just makes adding smaller beads glide on easier. Because I'm using what I already have on hand, which are lots of smaller beads, I'm going to be mixing the small and large one by adding 5 small beads and then 1 large one and just repeating the step. I like mixing it because it's going to give it an interesting look. And make sure to leave about 4 inches of your string or yarn. I've seen garlands that have tassels on the end and they're using twine or jute. But to make mine look less farmhouse and more bohemian, I'm going to be adding 2 fluffy tassels. And again, I'm just using some leftover yarn. I have an entire video on how to make tassels that I will link below in the description box. But once you're happy with the length of your garland and with the beads, take one end of your garland and the tie end of your tassel and double tie them together. I think I'm going to go ahead and trim the fringes quite a bit compared to the other one that I haven't touched yet. I think once you cut it down a bit, it makes it look richer. Now you have the perfect finishing accent. DIY number 2. Never heard of Dry Floral until this year. I just saw it popping up everywhere, but I think many people like it because of the timeless look and how elegant it looks. Oh my gosh. So we are going to be DIYing the fan that you usually see in most of the Dry Floral arrangements. It's very simple. It's a fan-like shape and it's bold. I already have brown crafting paper on hand, so we're just going to use this to start the DIY. I have this roll of brown paper that I've had since last year when I did my Christmas gift wrapping. We're just going to use this craft paper to try to make those fans. I've watched a few videos on how to create a dry palm or spear, and honestly, if you are a type A, go ahead and find something where you can draw a square shape with straight lines. But if I can be truthful, go ahead and skip this entire step because palm leaves are meant to be imperfect and replicate that outdoor tropical dried floral. So you'll eventually see that having straight lines isn't necessary. Now take an end and fold it back and forth, similar to an accordion. And this step brings back so many memories of being in middle school and folding my ruler paper just like this. I mean, who knew from it we can make floral shape? If you're still following along, you should end up with a crinkle-shaped square and fold it in half loosely. And begin cutting a rounded half shape from the middle, similar to a dome-shaped half rainbow. You will end up with a cool-looking spear shape, and to clean up the end, just cut off the messy part. Grab a mini dowel or stick. We have some bamboo skewers in our kitchen and they would act as a stem. Simply hot glue the stick to the middle inside of the accordion. You just need very little. Now take a piece of leftover scrap paper from your crafting paper, and I'm just wrapping a small piece around the end to keep the shape together, and personally it looks clean this way. And then to secure it, just add a little bit more hot glue at the end. But I wanted to take this look even one step further. So I'm going to turn it from a spear into a palm leaf just by cutting haphazardly along the creases. I want to take this in the direction of a monochromatic look since I already have the brown crafting paper. I have some jute on hand as well, and I'm going to be using this to rope around the skewer. I've seen others use neutral strings or macrame cords. You can use whatever you have, and I'm taking that jute and wrapping it around, and every so often I'm going to be hot gluing and making sure that it doesn't slide down. I want this to look as authentic as I can. I am bending and gently folding the sides and some of the tips. This is just too cute. This is a great example of an additive being displayed to your pre-existing florals or vases. On my journey of searching for unique pieces, some people go thrifting, I go to Home Goods. Home Goods is just full of treasures, and I like to go there when I'm looking for particular pieces. Found this beautiful seashell vase, and I had seen similar ones over Instagram, and I was so amazed to find something similar, and I just love the style. It's different, and I definitely saw that I can add this to our space. And that's the cool thing about unique pieces, is that it can really pull everything together or stand alone. And it was $25, but I walk around the store with it in my hand because I'm like, this is unique, there's only one. I was like, is it worth it? It is a little pricey, but I knew that if I'm gonna pay $25 for this, then I need to like make it my own. So I went for a color that I typically wouldn't pick out, a subtle coral orange. And I'm gonna be trying my hand at the baking soda method that y'all have seen everywhere, upcycling thrifted pieces using baking soda and acrylic paint. My friend Tina over on YouTube, she tried this method on some thrifted vases, and I just love how she did it. I'm gonna link her video down below because she made it look so easy, and I loved how it came out. So I said, what happens if I try this on a textured vase? To achieve the right shade of orange, I have put out all warm tones and white paints. The orange I have is way too loud for my liking, so I'm hoping for the perfect shade. This would have been so much easier if I just looked on Google, but I'm risking it all to get the color I desire. So I'm mixing orange, copper, a buttermilk cream, and this is where I should have stopped. This is the color that I like. It's not too bold of an orange, very light. I think I may have to add a little bit more orange. I think that might be it. I think I'll add a little bit more. I like it. But me being so ambitious, added too much orange. So less orange and more copper and cream color to achieve that soft orange. So the rule of thumb is a half a cup of baking soda to 1 cup of paint. But because I didn't start off with 1 cup of paint, I just eyeballed it. This really determines how textured you want your paint to be. Oh, this is gonna be so cute! Oh yeah, this is gonna be so cute. One thing I noticed is that the second that I put the baking soda in there, it makes it lighter. You see? Already turning much lighter. At first I was like, yeah, I want this color, but I wanted, you know what? That's because the baking soda is white. That's exactly what it is. Thought that the consistency in the paint would change, but not the color of the paint. Very interesting. I didn't even think about that. So I left for 2 hours and came back, and look at this beautiful orange. Not too bold Halloween, but subtle and vibrant. So I think I'm gonna go back and put one more coat on here. Still see some streaks along here. And again, I'm not too worried about it because I like the look. Here's my personal opinion. If you have a textured object that you'll be applying the baking soda method to, apply 1 or 2 coats. Don't be like me and add 3 to 4 coats without at least letting the paint dry first. It dries darker and thickens, and then you'll be able to see its truest textured form. But for my first time, not too bad. Just been in love with the countless different ways you can use a yarn, and I just am really loving the pom-poms in French style right now. I think this next DIY is very bohemian, very me, super simple. We are going to be creating a DIY pom-pom pillow. Here what you'll need: some yarn, a cream of white pillowcase, and a hot glue gun. Before we jump right into this, I went to IKEA for the 3rd time. If y'all on my Instagram, you know why I'm like breathing heavy as I'm talking about this. It's the second one in line, and I only went to get this pillowcase. When we arrived, there was nothing on the shelf. All 3 shelves were empty, and I came there for a pillowcase. This is the pillow that I want, and it's completely out of stock. Wow. Because of COVID, they disabled the option to do curbside pickup or to order online. I just started roaming Target like I always do, and I came upon this white velvet pillow. It was only $10, and it's from Target's College Room Essentials. Okay, now we can get back to the tutorial. I decided to go for a cream yarn to be of great contrast against the stark whites. Previous yarn I've worked with have been a solid thin string yarn, but this one here is a chunkier twisted yarn, which I love because it would give me a bulkier texture, but more importantly, it's gonna be fluffier. Now we're gonna be making pom-poms, and I'm using a pom-pom maker. You could use a fork, cardboard, or even your hands to achieve the same exact look, but this mini advice just make the process of pom-pom making easier. Take your yarn and continuously wrap one side over the 2 brackets. This step here does determine how thick and fluffy you will want the pom-poms. For this project, I made my first one very thick and realized it will work better with 1 wrap layer, giving me a smaller pom-pom while maintaining its thickness. Once you've reached your desired layer on one side, pull that string between the opposite brackets and begin wrapping the yarn all over again. You should end up with something like this. Now cut the single string and then begin cutting through the middle of all that yarn on both sides. We haven't even taken apart the maker, and you can already see all this fluffiness. It makes me so excited. Take another piece of yarn to wrap around the maker and then double tie it. So what's happening here is that you are creating the part, the knot that forms the actual pom-pom, keeping everything intact. Pull the brackets apart and you now have yourself a pom-pom. To clean it up a bit, let's trim around the edges. In total, I made 18 fluffy pom-poms. I'm not quite sure where I want to place them. Definitely want them to be organic. If I have like 4 or 5 up here, then maybe the other row is every other in the empty spaces. Let's do that. So you have two options of going about this. If you have a pillowcase, you can easily just sew the pom-poms on there. But in this case, we are just gonna simply hot glue them on there. To make sure that your pom-poms do not fall off your pillow, try to use Gorilla Glue sticks. That's what I'm currently using, and it is 5 times more durable and can actually be used on fabrics. One thing I like about this Gorilla Glue is that it dries within 45 seconds, so I'm just pressing down on the pom-poms to make sure that all the glue is sticking to the pillow. I don't think these pom-poms are going anywhere. So what do y'all think? Hope this video encouraged you to try some of these DIYs. They were super easy, fun, very bohemian. I absolutely love how they all came out, and I cannot wait to style them in our space. There is a lot that goes into DIYs. I absolutely love it, but I also know that it's not for everybody. Sometimes it is worth the splurge to just go ahead and buy it. So remember that this is part 1 of 2 of my mini series. Renovation makeover. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you're aware when that video comes out. And if you want to see more DIYs, rental-friendly upgrades, encouraging messages, make sure you hit that notification bell. And as always, I will talk to you all later.